Dom, going back to when you were in the portal, what stood out to you about Georgia, and what has the transition been like for you since you got here to where you are right now getting ready for the season?
Well, I felt that Georgia had a strong connection as soon as I entered the portal. When I came down here and they showed me around their facility, their nutrition, their academics, it was basically everything that I was looking for in a program. Their standard, of course, how they develop young men and send them to the league. That has been at a very high level. Coach Smart, the coaching staff, everything was everything that I wanted. And if you don't mind, man, you repeat the second part of your question.
Just what it's been like since you've gotten here.
Oh, the transition has been great, exciting actually. New people to meet, new friends, new brothers to be around, and that was really like the main part as far as my growth. I could say from the weight room to on the field, everything has just gotten better. I'm just stacking days, day in and day out. So.
Yeah, Dominic, obviously you've been around the SEC, you knew about Georgia. What was maybe a thought you had about this place or a preconceived notion that you have that you got here that might have changed?
Nothing really changed. It was actually everything I thought it was going to be. I thought it was best for me and my family. I took a step out on faith, and ever since then it's just been going up. So I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying my process, my growth within the playbook, my academics, and just growing every day as a player and as a man. So.
Yeah, we hear so often Georgia players tell us, Georgia's not for everyone, and it seems like you found success pretty quickly here. Why do you think that's the case?
I can't really speak for other players, but honestly, I just feel like that Georgia's built on. It goes back to one of our core values, which is toughness. I just feel like this is what that place was built on. That's physically and mentally. So I feel like if you're a tough person, then you'll survive here, and kind of weed out the weak links. Not saying nobody's a weak link. I'm just saying. So this place is built on toughness, and if you're a tough person, then you'll survive here.
Yeah, you talked about meet new people and stuff like that, how great that's been. We talked to Marcus Rosemy-Jackson. He talked about really wanting to focus on just welcome you guys in with open arms. I mean, how was it to meet him and some of the other guys in the receiver room?
It was actually dope because I kind of looked up to them as far as all the players that have been here, that have came, that have went, that I've met. From Jalen Carter, Lad McConkey, Marcus Rose, Brock Bowers, he's a big one. Just meeting those guys and seeing how humble they are and how they welcome me with open arms. That was a big thing from Javon Bullard, K3, Malachi Starks. Just the whole team just invited me in with open arms, and that's something that I could say that was a big thing for me, being in the transfer portal, coming to a new place. So just that family-friendly environment. So.
You obviously got to go against some of the defensive backs last year when you played them. What has some of the back and forth been like between you all now that you've gotten here and you've gotten to maybe look back at some of those battles that you had last season?
We mostly joke and laugh about it. They kind of tease me about it every day when it comes on the TV. They be like, "Hey Dom, look, you're here on the TV," and I just laugh. So it's nothing but laughs, but it is kind of cool seeing where I was and how I ended up here, from going against them to not playing with them. So that's a big factor. So that's pretty dope.
Hey Dom, so when you arrived here, did you notice the talent difference right away between Missouri and Georgia, and how has that helped you just as a competitor and get better in the fall and summer?
Talent difference, I'll say this about each school. They both have great players, great coaches. I feel like that there's players at Mizzou that could play here at Georgia, and vice versa. They're both top-tier programs, but I ain't really see no difference. I just came in and put my head down and worked.
Dominic, you played in an offense that Missouri was known for spread, wide open. What do you think the character of the Georgia offense is going to be?
Honestly, whoever out there, we have the utmost confidence. We have the utmost confidence in them to get the job done. I feel like that our offense is really just based on toughness and consistency. We have multiple weapons that we can hit you with from an offense and a defensive standpoint. So it's honestly kind of like pick your poison. So I feel like that we got everything that our offense would need and want. So.
Yeah, as someone who doesn't have a long history with Carson, what have you seen from him this offseason coming in, and ultimately why do you think, or what was it about his play that allowed him to win the starting quarterback job?
That's a decision by Coach Kirby. I have confidence in all three of our quarterbacks. Whoever that Coach Smart puts in, I feel like they can get the job done. They all bring something different to the table, and Coach Smart just named Carson. But anybody that he would have put back there, we would have had the utmost confidence in to get the job done and take us through the season.
Dom, obviously, other than Ohio State, Missouri came as close as anybody to beating Georgia last year. I remember seeing you after the game. It was just one of those pass-bys. I think you were limping pretty good. You were hurt. You looked PO'd, right? After that game, I knew you laid it on your line. Just your memories of that game, and how often does that ever come back? And some of this interplay, with the defensive backs and such.
I actually took that game as an honor, with them being like undefeated and them being like with them just winning the national championship. I took that game as an honor. I went out there, had fun, played ball. We was up, they came back and they won. Honestly, I look at that game as like a growing point from being there and from being here, as in like Georgia is one of those teams that like you're going to have to play for 4 quarters. They're never out of the fight. Of course, we can run back to the Ohio State game, that they're never out of the fight. I took that game as an honor, seeing how like so many of those players entered the draft from offense and defense. So I feel like that was like a cool team to play, and I felt like that we got after them pretty good, and it was a good game. They came out on top. I had no bad blood, and I just told them after the game, it was a good game. Maybe we'll catch y'all next year, and I just so happened to end up here next year. So.
Dom, when you look at this year, what do you feel like you bring to this offense, and what do you feel like your role can be this season?
I feel like I'm just another weapon added to an offense that already had plenty of weapons, which is why I can go back and say, like, they welcome me with open arms because, they did it 2 years and I wasn't here, so I was just another weapon that they added. And I can add, like, another brother, another teammate, all pushing in the same direction. I don't really focus on individual goals. It's a team sport. Without them other 10 guys on the field, I couldn't do what I do. So, and without the defense, we couldn't do what the offense do, and vice versa. So I don't really look at it as like individual. As a team, I just want to, take it game by game, practice by practice, and keep pushing and keep striving.
Got time for 2 more questions.
Dominic, I feel like we've asked a lot of people here about the possible three-peat and stuff like that, but you're an interesting point where you haven't been part of either of those runs. How much of it for you kind of inspires you and really drives you to get that third one and your first with this team?
It drives me a lot, but that's not something that I'm really focused on. I'm focused on our first opponent, which is Tennessee Martin, prepping for them and getting ready for them. You can't look past no opponent, and I feel like that we just got to take it one game, one practice at a time, and that's the ultimate goal. But we got to take it one game, one practice at a time.
Dominic, I wonder if you've bonded with Ra since you guys both came in as transfers, receiver. How do you think he's coming along, as the season's upon us?
Bonded with him, he was. We're actually roommates, so that's kind of neat. And I feel like that we both came a long way with us being transfers in a new system and a new offense. Actually, like the whole wide receiver room has came a long way with the guys who've actually already been here. We've been growing every day as one. But Ra, I feel like that he's come a long way. We both have, just being in a new system under a new coach. So I feel like we just gotta, keep stacking and keep going, and let the season tell it. So.
Thanks, Dom.
Thanks.
No problem.